Hello everyone, this is still in the Economix, a comic that helped me a lot while taking the Economics PhD back then. So now I'm trying to tell you, actually I'm reading it for you to give you better understanding. This is still about the invisible hand. Sub-chapter is the limits of the market. Adam Smith was never dogmatic. He knew the markets weren't perfect. Markets won't enforce law, protect borders, or provide public goods such as street cleaning that everyone wants, but nobody has much incentive to provide. Those are jobs for the government. For that matter, Smith thought government should favor war-related industries so they would be around if war comes. Protect the wage worker because they had less bargaining power than employers, keep the bank honest, issue patents, protect new industries until they were in their feet, cap the interest rate, control diseases, establish education standard so branded jobs like the ones in the paint workshop didn't turn workers into branded people, and even provide public amusement. Cap the interest rate was a big one. Smith understood that if the reward gets too big, investors forget the risk. Like for example, invest in a farm very safe for 4% interest. Invest in trading journey to Brazil rather than risky but 8%, and invest in gold mines in the moon 300% interest. So people can just choose the moon. With the interest rate cap, Smith expected people to take reasonable risk but avoid wild gambling. Farm, Brazil, the moon, something like this. So Smith didn't just think interest should be low, he thought that the same about the profit. Smith thought that the high profits were bad because you couldn't have high profit and high wages at same time. Your wages come out of our profit. Your profit come out of our wages. High wages weren't just in workers' interest, they were in society's interest because almost everyone in society was a worker. That's still true until today. So if your income comes from the work you do and not from your rent or profit, so you are basically a worker. Which brings up a point so basic that it can be hard to see. No society can surely be flourished and happy of which the far greater parts of the members, means the worker, are poor and miserable. So when capitalists followed their self-interest and paid low wages, that was bad for society. Same if they raised prices. When the prices rose, real wages, not the money itself, but what the money would buy, fell. High prices and low wages are the same damn thing. That's one reason Smith liked free markets. In a free market, capitalists compete for workers, which raises wages. They also compete for the customer with lower prices. I offer 3 shillings a day for, he can have it for 6 pence, 5 and something like this. But even back in Smith's day, the capitalists could escape the market. For one thing, they could take over the market. Will one of you take 8 pences? Some of them, they say 10 pences and the other say 10 pences. People of the same trade seldom meet together, even for merriment and diversion, but the conversation ends in the conspiracy against the public, or in some contrivance to raise prices. Even worse, big capitalists had enough political power to push law establishing subsidies and protective tariff that guaranteed high profits. In a word, mercantilism. Those laws were bad for society, but who understand that? Not the tired, uneducated worker, or for that matter, the government, much of the time. What's good for me is good for everyone. You are expert, huh? So, Adam Smith didn't exactly think government was dangerous to the free market. He thought the danger was big capitalists tricking the government into doing them favors. Which brings us to the big forgotten message of the wealth of nation. Beware of capitalists. It's worth reading in Adam Smith's own words. The proposal of any new law or regulation of the commerce which comes from the capitalists ought always to be listened to with great precaution and ought never to be adopted till after having been long and carefully examined, not only with the most scrupulous but with the most suspicious attention. It comes from an order of men whose interest is never exactly the same with that of the public, who have generally an interest to deceive and even to oppress the public, and who accordingly have upon many occasions both deceived and oppressed. Smith had a bit of problem with big capitalists. The mean rapacy, monopolizing spirit of merchants and manufacturers who neither are nor ought to be the master of mankind. And for good reason, Britain's economy was freer than France's. Smith thought that was why Britain was richer, but it was still riddled with the regulations, subsidies, protections, and especially government-enforced monopolies. A monopoly is when there is only one seller in the market with no competitors. The monopolist can and will overcharge. For instance, in Smith's day, only the giant East India Company could trade with Asia. Our monopoly encourages to trade with Asia. That makes no sense. If the Asia trade pays, why keep people out of it? If it doesn't, why encourage it? He says. The very existence of the East India Company was an interference in the market. The EIC was a governed, created entity called corporation. So the next video we will tell you about corporation, the artificial person. See you, bye bye.